Ajá, mira mamá, aquí está la comprita que faltaba de los muchachos. Aquí están las cholitas, dos parcitos de chola, tres cremas, la vainilla, canela y estas abejitas que me dieron guerra para conseguirlas, pero aparecieron. Seis, tres bolsas de avena, cinco sardinas, una panelita, salsa de tomate, dos acción y 3 kilos de jabón y 4 rollos de papel nada más, que es grande. Entonces los niños te van a saludar.
Señora abuelita, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo está mi abuelo Wilson?
Y Holman,
Señora abuelita, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te va allá? ¿Cómo está mi abuelo Wilson?
¿le gustaron las cholitas?
Sí.
Bueno, mire, que andaban ya, mire ya la de la de Joelito.
What you just saw is a scene in Táchira, Venezuela, one of the most neglected states in Venezuela. It's a state that sits on the border with Colombia, and it's been a scene of a lot of bad stuff, smuggling, things like that. Paramilitaries still roam around in the woods in Táchira. Now, what I wanted to show you is the gifts that my wife and I have sent them, and that is for their survival. And this has been going on long before sanctions. That's what I want you to understand. These sanctions are terrible and they must be stopped. They make things worse than they have to be. Now, I'm not asking you for anything, okay? Or I would like you to boost this video, but I'm not asking you for any money or any help. We managed to send them necessities, or money so that they can get necessities, and we're happy with that. But what burns me up, what makes me so furious, is leftists who know nothing about Venezuela, who never even read a website about Venezuela, who have opinions about Venezuela, and these opinions are colored by their wishes. It's the wish being the father of the thought, and the wish is that Venezuela was a socialist country where the people are in charge, where the working class dominates, where the bourgeoisie is on the run if not eliminated, and the people have what they need, because Venezuela is potentially a very rich country. It's got the biggest oil reserves in the world. They don't seem to understand that the oil fields of Venezuela were wrecked long ago. They should look up Rafael Ramirez, who was Hugo Chavez's right-hand man. This video is also very revealing, because what you're about to see, if you're still with me, is a video made by Telesur when it was financed by the Nicolas Maduro government of Venezuela. It's very interesting, and I think they stepped in it when they made this video, because what it shows is the helplessness of the government of Hugo Chavez between the years 2003 and 2013 to control the bourgeoisie. Of the government of Hugo Chavez between the years 2003 and 2013 to control the bourgeoisie.
What is behind the food lines in Venezuela? Venezuela's opposition says the reason there are shortages is that the government let production fall. But 100 years of oil have meant Venezuelan businesses forgot how to produce a long time ago. Agriculture fell into abandon, almost everything was imported. So what's the cause of the current crisis? Many think the key is this, the great import scam. By getting cheap dollars from the central bank, playing on the growing gap in exchange rates and lying about what they really import, Venezuela's private sector elite siphoned off as much as a staggering $259 billion of public money between 2003 and 2013. That's right, $259 billion, more than the total annual GDP of Venezuela or Peru or Portugal, Algeria, Iraq or Pakistan. Much of this probably went into those dodgy shell companies revealed in the Panama Papers. Now, before we get into how this scheme has worked, it's important for you to understand that there are several exchange rates in Venezuela. There's a preferential rate for necessary imports, which was 6.3 bolivars to the dollar last year, now it's 10. Then there's the illegal parallel market rate, which was roughly 500 bolivars to the dollar late last year, or nearly 80 times the preferential rate. There are other rates too, but we won't get into that here. So here's a hypothetical scenario of how the private sector has been driving the Venezuelan crisis. Private importer Mr. A bought $1,000 from the central bank to import 100 cases of groceries. He got that preferential rate, so he paid 6,300 bolivars for the dollars. Mr. A then had several options. He might really import all 100 cases, but he'd sell the groceries at a price based on the illegal parallel rate. So each case might cost not 63 bolivars, but 5,000 bolivars. In other words, he made a massive profit in bolivars. More likely, Mr. A only imported 50 cases, for which he paid $500. Those he'd also sell at the parallel rate and still make a handsome profit. The other $500 he could exchange back into bolivars at the parallel rate and make a killing, or invest them abroad, or keep them in an offshore account for a rainy day, or any combination of these things. In some cases, Mr. A didn't import anything at all. He basically stole the dollars. The result has been not only shortages, but an absurd gap in prices between what basic foods are meant to cost and the real cost set in line with the parallel exchange rate. Some Chavistas believe this is the real economic war, the struggle by the Venezuelan private sector to claw back a chunk of the oil revenue that it lost with the Bolivarian Revolution.